if I knew then what I know now, I
Hmm.
might have done things differently.
Yeah.
But that is why it's very important to be passionate about what you've decided to do, why you're doing it, and what you want the outcome to be. And to also celebrate the wins, because if you don't, no one's going to celebrate them for you.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Innovation Nation podcast, where we help small businesses, whether it's their first step or the next big leap, to help them be more productive, to empower them to take part in this digital innovative landscape. Today, we have two very special people on the show, and I'm very excited to have this conversation with you all. Today we have Mr. Davidson Edwards, the co-founder of Shop DM, which is an online e-commerce marketplace that really empowers merchants and users to get into the digital space. And also with me, I have Miss Sade Samuel, who is the founder of Qwick Deliveries. And they've recently launched an app, and they are a food delivery platform empowering restaurants to bring great food into everybody's home. Before we begin the conversation, I really want to just kind of frame you all's background. So, for the viewers who are not familiar with you and what is that you've been doing, apart from your background information and understanding what has got you here. My question is, what was the problem that you were trying to solve? Why you are even in this industry, right? So I guess I can start off with Sade, the ladies first. Yeah.
Okay. So the problem was more of a personal one. To make it very short, I hate lines, and anybody who knows me also understands that I hate lines. My mother can't send me to the bank. Don't ask me to do anything that involves a line because I will tell you I'm sorry, I can't do it. It's a pet peeve. And I was standing in line to get food one day, and I said, I can't be the only person that also hates lines. So, this is what birthed Quick Delivery with our tagline: skip the line and save some time.
Nice. Thank you very much
Very
for that,
cool.
Sade. What about
Well,
you, Davidson? Why is it that you're even here doing this?
Well, it's Davidson slash Tony. You can go with Tony. The As for why I'm doing this, yeah. So Shop DM, so it's me and Gandhi. Gandhi Robin is my co-founder. We sort of ended up doing this type of business more because of our interest in creating economic opportunities locally, mostly that. And then we are sort of looking at like how can we do this. And when we were looking at this was right around the COVID boom. So that was March 2020, and COVID was just kind of exploding all over the world. And we were forced to social distance, but obviously people still needed to meet their needs. So we had this kind of problem, and the problem was, of course, you needed to do your shopping, but you couldn't go to Rose, or you even if you could, you didn't want to be around persons that might infect you. It was a really weird time. Um, yeah, so we ended up thinking of e-commerce because of that. But the thing that really ended up exciting us about the e-commerce is, as all of these stores get onto, this platform, very the same, absolutely the same thing as with quick delivery. Once all these stores are on the platform, you're opening them to a different market. So it can be someone overseas that can now buy from them. It can be case it can be someone that's in a you could be in Roseau selling to someone in Granby, selling to someone in Portsmouth. So really, it's this idea of broadening your available market, which means more sales, which means better economic opportunities. We want to do the same thing with the delivery aspect as well. Right now, we work for a lot of bus drivers. So again, it's kind of like they're getting this opportunity to do this, and also where we partner, right? So Shade has been one of our best. Well, Quick through Shade has been one of our best partners from the beginning, really. And yeah, it's like the our vision is basically lots more economic opportunities go into businesses, whether you're making something, retailing something, your delivery business, you just want to do a little side job. Yeah, just kind of getting the economy
Right.
working.
And there's something I want to add to that, right?
Yeah.
Just off the back of what Anthony said. Um, as a young entrepreneur in Dominica, you see a lot of people not partnering with businesses that can support their business. You
Yeah.
see a lot of people not encouraging others to grow. And very early on, Anthony and I met each other and we clicked. And it was along the line of, hey, we want to push the country forward. We want people to be able to, when you think of social media or using your phone, it's not just about WhatsApp and Facebook and Instagram. We want you to be able to get the things that you want to locally, um, at the at the tip of your fingertips. And this is something that we were both passionate about. And this is also something that we work alongside each other, regardless of also being in a very similar space, also being very conscious of, okay, this is my line. I don't really get into too much of
Yeah.
Anthony's space, and Anthony doesn't really, get too much into
Yeah.
quick space,
Yeah.
and the mutual respect is there, and there's enough in that space to support the growth of our individual businesses. And I think that that is super important to note.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for
No
bringing that
problem.
out.
Yeah, thanks
Yeah.
a lot, Sade. Well, I know both of you are playing in the e-commerce space, and like you said, everybody's kind of holding their sides. But at the same time, there's a lot of opportunity to collaborate. But
Hmm.
between the two of you all, no
Hmm.
one wants to reinvent the wheel, and I think a real hallmark of any efficient enterprise is being able to lean on those people who are doing what you can't, and be able to get the benefits. So tell me, just describe a little bit for me. Any one of you all can. How you all as companies collaborate with each other to ensure that you all satisfy customers.
I move Anthony's products.
Yeah. That's basically what it is, right? ShopDM is not a delivery company, and we're not trying to be one. We're trying to be a company that brings in the sales. And the same way we don't want to fulfill the orders, we partner with businesses for that. We don't actually want to move the product either. We partner with businesses for that. The thing is, this is how business works around the world. Like, if you, so we're very similar to Amazon, obviously. If you think of Amazon in the beginning, like, was Jeff Bezos going around on a bicycle delivering? you know like what he was doing, he was using USPS from day one. And even today, even though Amazon has its whole delivery element, I think somewhere like maybe 30 or 40% of their deliveries are still going for them. If you look at China, look at Alibaba. um Alibaba was God, I can't speak Chinese, but um, there's this province Alibaba came from. The Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba, came from, and it's Zhejiang, right? I think that's how you pronounce it. But so Alibaba is the biggest e-commerce company in the world, and I believe the four biggest delivery companies in the world are also from Zhejiang, and they were founded at the same time as Alibaba, and they currently probably 60-70% of their volume is sourced from Alibaba. So like, this is no mistake. This is how
Right.
it works, right? If you want to change an ecosystem, you have to partner. Shade
Right.
Quick is extremely good at what they do. We cannot become what we want to become without them. And I think to some extent, they can't become what they want to become without us. So it's about these sorts of, like, when you look at an ecosystem growing, it's like, well, it never makes sense that one company will do everything. It's like some companies specialize and they partner.
Early on, like what were some of the challenges that you encountered in executing this? And I mean like very, very early on. I don't mean now. Because I think there's a great lesson in the comparison of problems. What you thought was a problem like 5 years ago is not what you're dealing with right now. Right? So what were some of the early ones, that you all were experiencing, and how does that compare now to what it is that you're the kind of fires that you're putting out now?
when I started off, there was the concern of support, the challenge of support. There was product to market fit and cultural shift. Yeah. So, first off, anyone who's starting a business, I will tell you the people around you, the immediate people around you will tell you no. And it's not because they don't want to see you succeed, it's because they don't want to see you fail. So I remember leaving digital and telling my mom, I'm going to start a delivery service. And she was like, it's never been done before. Are you sure that this is something that you want to do? And then 2 years later, my mom is on board with her quick delivery shirt and she's training people. Hey, you're the
Nice.
newbie. No, this is how we communicate with customers, etc. Right? So to anyone listening, I would say the people around you first off are gonna tell you no. It's not because they want to see you fail. It's because they don't want to see you fail. And so they're sticking to what they know. So you have to be strong enough to actually say, okay, I'm going to do it. Two, product to market fit. When I started off, delivery was $5. And I will proudly say that quick delivery created the delivery market here. People at the time didn't value delivery as much as they do now, right? And culturally, I think it just took a little while before we adapted to it or adopted it, whether that was from the customer perspective or the merchant perspective. Um, and sometimes you do need to let things set for a little bit before people can actually trust the process and trust your brand. I would say that the market wasn't used to having access to delivery within a short time frame. We all had freight forwarders and we were used to that. But the concept of the idea of delivery or getting your food delivered was new. And even now, people still come to me and say, oh, that's a really good idea. And I'm always like, this is something that happens all over the world, just internationally. And I want to make it so normal
Mhm.
that when you come and I tell you, hi, I'm the owner of Quick Delivery, the first things that come out your mouth are not, that's a really good idea because it's a part of your everyday.
And so I think same question, or the first part of the question, which is what were some of the earlier challenges that you were experiencing, and at the time, I'm sure it felt like a mountain to climb.
Yeah, well, I mean, absolutely. So some of them were very, very similar to what Shadi mentioned, and that's normal because in the beginning you have the same general product problem. So personally, I had the same thing with my family. So I was in the UK for a few years. I had gone to study tech and business, and I was working up there. And then it was this thing about, oh, you're gonna come back and you're gonna come back to like, what are you coming back to?
Just come on a
You
run.
got out, stay out. Like this. I mean, that's not what they told me, but that was the idea. Not
Yeah.
just with my parents, but literally everyone, right? And even my friends up there. It was like even my friends that didn't know anything about Dominica, despite what I told them. It's like so this is a small Caribbean island with 70,000 people, and they're not like rolling in money. Like, okay, that doesn't sound like the best business prospects. But I mean, I think one of there's a few things there, not to go off, but like a market isn't necessarily what it seems like on the surface. Like for instance, we target diasporans a lot. If you look at the population in Dominica, you won't think that there's anyone there, but actually, if you look at the people connected to Dominica, it's a much much larger market than what our population numbers give. But anyway, um, absolutely, market fit is the first one that you hit, and product market fit is honestly what cuts the legs of like I think maybe 80 or 90% of businesses. You know, in fact, even when we launched Shop DM, it's not like we were the only person who saw the need for an e-commerce marketplace. Because yeah, but again, like I think basically everyone else who tried just didn't get product market fit. So, for instance, when we launched, we had our first sellers, our first like store partners. We got them through a partnership with Dexia. So we partnered with Dexia, and we basically put all of the persons they exposed us to online. I think it was maybe about 30 or 20 manufacturers. Um, but then we were tracking the data passing through the site, and we had all these local products because, like I said, the whole thesis was yes, we want to make it easier for you to shop, but we also want to support local. We want to help put all the Dominican businesses online. That's why, we had all these, like locally produced cocoa, locally produced lip balm, that sort of stuff. But then when we checked the data, everyone was searching for rice and chicken and potatoes and salt and sugar, right? Like, so there was a complete mismatch between the products that we had on the platform and the products that people were demonstrated that they wanted to buy. And that's part of product market fit, and that's what Sade is referring to. She's absolutely right. Like, and it's the same thing we had to go through. So then, how do you address that, right? So we needed to expand out our efforts to build partnerships. We started building partnerships with retailers, and then of course we got all the stuff that the retailers have on. We all the stuff that you can get on ShopDM today. You can get 15,000 products. Um, yeah, another big problem in the beginning was payment processing. Um,
In the
and
beginning.
funny enough, it's actually a problem right now. Like
Listen,
it hadn't been a problem for about a year and a half. We thought it was solved, but it's like it reared its ugly head again.
well,
But
listen. I think payment processing is probably one of the top three, challenges that we're facing now for sure. So, I mean, while we mentioned it, let's just jump into it, right?
yeah,
So,
well,
please explain, and I'll get to Shad in a little while, but explain to me the payment processing landscape right now.
okay. Oh boy. All right. Well, I can let me
Everybody said, "Oh boy, we're checking." That's a hard question, boy.
li- like
What?
It's
let me
not
put it
hard.
kind of concisely. So, if you were starting ShopDM or any online business in the UK, 9 times out of 10, you would use Stripe. You would also use that if you were in the US or in Canada or something. And what Stripe is they're a payment processing company. So all that really means is that Stripe has partnered with banks and they've built a very easy way for you to sign up with them. You sign up online, you don't need to talk to anyone, you don't need to go through any arduous process. It'll take a few minutes, just like signing up for Facebook and then or PayPal, and then you have the ability to accept cards. Now, if you're a British guy in Britain, this is what building a company is going to be for you. You don't think of payment processing as a hurdle you have to get over, right? You
Right.
think about hiring people like me. You think about hiring software engineers, how much that's going to cost, etc. And then you just mention to them, yeah, just can you get payment processing solved today? We need to start accepting transactions. But actually, here it's a completely different thing. There is no payment processor that offers the services that Stripe does to this region. Many of the, well, actually, almost all of the globally, you know, standard payment processors, they don't serve businesses in the Caribbean. The main exception is PayPal, and PayPal charges very high fees, up to 10%. So basically, that just that one fact sort of cuts the legs of most online ideas. Like, I know a few people who have tried to start businesses and just got stuck on the payment hurdle. So what we need in my mind to fix that is something like a Caribbean PayPal, a business that does exactly what PayPal or Stripe does. They create a sort of they form the business, the banking relationships necessary. They take the risk themselves, and then they make it easy for everyday businesses who just want to accept cards online. Because it's not a trivial thing to do to build a company like Stripe. You may need to spend, well, like many millions of dollars to like go through the regulatory approval, get like a credit card processing solution in, whether that's white labeled or, I mean, you would never build something like that from scratch. It's not an easy task. It's something that I think our governments or our kind of regional bodies could even think of encouraging or financing, because the business success that can unlock, right? It's dramatic. Just think for a moment. It's not like a problem that's specific to Dominica or the Caribbean. it's every part of the world had this, right? Like so, um, I was recently reading the story of Alibaba and like how they went from starting to what they are today. And yeah, in like 1999 when they launched, like no one did credit card processing in China, in all of China. In fact, many of the potential buyers didn't even have cards. So that was an even harder problem than what we have. But what I'm illustrating is this this is something that is normal, that before you get companies like Quick Delivery with their online solutions, before you get companies like ShopDM, the landscape is devoid of that type of solution because you don't really need it until those companies come along. So that's the pain
Yeah.
that Shadi and I are feeling. We're feeling it because we're the first ones. But anyway, so
Yeah.
that's what we're really lacking. And given that we're lacking that, what we need, what we have currently is we have solutions that you have to go through the bank for. They can be they, they often mean you have to invest in software development yourself, whereas you can just install a PayPal button. Like you don't need coding skills to install
So,
a PayPal button.
so the ability to, or the functionality to be able to take payments right online is not something that our current financial system can do well or at all.
It can, but for like certain decisions could be made to make that possible here. But as it is currently, it would be very costly. And depending on the type of institution you are, you literally may not have access. So one thing is, yeah, you may just need to pay software engineers to do that sort of work. I know Shadi has looked at that. That can cost you many tens of thousands of dollars, many over $100,000 in certain cases, depending on how you're going about it. In our case, we have tech capacity in house, but the other challenge is that the banks don't necessarily have a solution that we're even allowed to use, because there are different types of. This is all run by Visa in the background, and Visa has different classifications for businesses. So a business like ShopDM is a marketplace business, because basically we're taking money on behalf of other businesses, and that's very common in the UK. But here it's a very special type of thing, and it's like, well, the processors that one or two of the banks use don't serve that type of business in this region. So it's not even the bank's decision, So it's there's a
Yeah.
lot of problems. Like but we're doing our best to get
I
over
know,
them.
trust me, it can go on and on,
Yeah,
on and on and on.
We could
Shawty,
go all day.
fees. Shawty, fees. What are they and why are they so high?
yeah,
So, um, I think oftentimes we look at a service and we don't understand what it actually takes to provide it to get it to you,
hmm
right? So as much as Anthony and I wanted to be able to get this product or this service available to everyone, whether you're local or abroad, you're using your laptop, your phone, your Android, your Apple device, we wanted you to be able to say, hey, I can pay online. It is a lot harder on the back end.
yeah,
It is very challenging and it is costly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Very costly.
A big fact, right? Statistics show that people are more likely to spend more money online than they are to spend cash. So if you have a cash option and an online payment option, that person is actually going to spend more money. Now, what do I mean when this is costly, especially as a delivery service business? So let's say I have a partner and one of my partners is WeChurch, and someone is buying something from WeChat and that is $100, and the delivery fee is $10. When, let's say, PayPal comes in and takes their fees, all the fees combined to get that money from the card to Stripe or whichever payment processor it is that I'm using, from whichever account it is that it is going to, and then into the local account, could cost me
Yeah,
$11, which is one more dollar than the delivery fee.
yeah,
So it then comes
Wow.
to me. does it make sense for me as quick delivery to offer you, the customer, that level of convenience when it costs more than the delivery
Yeah.
fee, and which is my money?
Yeah.
You
Right, right.
understand?
Yeah.
That
Exactly.
is what people don't take into consideration, and that is the hard facts. And when you have e-commerce companies like Anthony and I, when you think about the breakdown and your revenue and the little that you are taking in, because for us in this business it's about volume.
Hmm.
On some cases, if you are not doing things to ensure that you are coming out with a certain amount of margin, you are losing.
Yeah.
You have to understand how much does it cost when I accept PayPal, how much does it cost when I accept Stripe, how much does it cost for it to get to the bank, whether it's the US bank or wherever it is that it has to go, how much is my local bank going to cost me or charge me when that money has to go from
Yeah.
this location to this
Yeah.
location. And if I'm using an intermediary to actually transfer the money from point
How
one
much are they
to
gonna take?
the final destination, how much are they also charging
Don't
me?
forget,
And after
don't forget the
all those
currency.
charges,
Don't forget the currency
and then
conversion.
the currency exchange, when you call and you take out all of those
Yeah. Yeah.
charges,
Yeah.
we might be left with, Anthony might be left in his
Yeah.
boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like
Absolutely.
you
Like that
owing
is,
money every order. Like every
yeah,
time
like
someone orders, you have to pay $5.
that's
Yeah.
literally the truth.
Yeah.
And for me, I went through the process of having to register a business in the States, which
Oh
also
yeah.
means that I have to pay state taxes, and then I still have to pay taxes on that to be able to use Stripe.
Yeah.
So whenever you actually go into, and for everyone who has the quick delivery app and we're not sure what Stripe is will allow you to use your debit card or your credit card.
Yeah.
So if you want to go and make a payment online, you can do so via using the Stripe. We've worked hard to be able to make it available to you,
And
so you
paid a
can
lot
go
of
ahead and
money.
use that.
If I can put it in, like, I mean, obviously, Sade is here. She's eating. She's paying rent, right? Like, she has to live, so she can only continue doing quick delivery if the business has a means of
It's
making revenue.
sustainable.
So,
Right.
like every business, there's a margin, and within the margin, she's calculated what the fee can be. It can either be that you like, for instance, some businesses will just tell you that the price of the items is $120. That's what Amazon does. Amazon actually charges like 30-40% on average, but like you don't think of it because it might be calculated into the actual products that you're adding to the cart. I think both Shadi and myself just tell you all what the fees actually are, and then because of that you might be more aware of it, and then of course you don't have the context of what's going into it. But that's what she means. It's like, so the only way the business can work is if there's a part that's obviously staying with the business. But I think the more important thing to take away is that all of this makes it more costly for the consumer. Like, obviously, whether it's Whitchurch passing it on to you, or Shadi passing it on to you, or them telling you, okay, you have to pay this in addition, in the end you're paying it. So
Right.
it's actually in everyone's interest for us to just get. Let's think of it this way: the type of infrastructure that a white guy in Britain has, us black people in Dominica should have it too. As long as we could
Agreed.
do that, then we could have the same type of business prospects that they would have. Yeah, that's really what it
And
is.
this means that when you, whether you're in the diaspora or you're here locally, and you order something on the quick delivery app, that money reaches to my account as opposed to going through so many different
Yeah,
locations or payment
yeah,
processors.
and each one takes
That
their
is what
cut. Yeah,
Yeah, that is what would really and truly be ideal.
Yeah, and then
yeah,
also there is also a lead time, a minimum lead time for all this to happen, right? So
yeah,
apart from not getting all your monies, you might still not get it when you need it, right?
yeah.
So what do you do? How do you do? What are the things and strategies that you all are considering in order to be profitable?
Yeah, well, I mean, so our fees are calculated to keep the doors open. The type of business we're doing is very much a volume business. So for our business to work, we need to get to scale. We need to get to the point where everyone is using the using the platform all the time. Persons within the island, persons outside the island, potentially persons in other islands. At a small scale, like the way we think about what we're doing right now is we're not trying to be profitable at this point. We're trying to build the business to that point where it works. That's a very common type of approach with these sorts of online businesses. I mean, the fees that we're taking, they're pretty good. Like, but at the volume that we're taking them, we're very much running the business on the money that myself and the other people involved, investors, etc., have put into the money. Like, if you think of it like that, with a lot of startups, including ShopDM, in the beginning it's subsidized. It can be subsidized by investors. It can be subsidized by the co-founders. They can just not take a salary at all and just live off their savings. We've definitely done that. It can be subsidized by the governments. They can give grants. It can be subsidized by external institutions that give grants, or you could subsidize it with a loan, which is really kind of like you borrowing from yourself in the future. But in basically the challenge is that in the beginning, from day one, you're going to be spending money. But from day one, you won't be making money, so your expenses, like your balance, is going to go down. And the challenge is, before it becomes zero, you have to hit what they call a break even point, which is you're making enough money to cover your expenses. ShopDM is still very much gunning for that. We think we can do that. We're doing pretty well in terms of growth, but yeah, the environmental challenges don't help that part of the journey, I can tell you.
No,
Yeah.
not at all. I mean, I extremely, I really, really for sustainability. I think, I mean, and I guess that's what I'm getting from you in this particular industry, in this particular field. You're not going to be profitable in the beginning. There's going, especially in the beginning, because there's adoption times,
Yeah.
buy-in, growing pains, working it out, small challenges, and all those other, payment processing and things we spoke about. So it's not going to be, as soon as I start, I'm going to make
No,
$1 million. It's
no,
going to take a time.
no,
And,
not
and,
at
and
all.
Shop DM and I believe Qwick is still working very much towards a more sustainable company, right, at present.
Just to add, it's like it's really not even a ShopDem or even a Dominica thing, right? Like, if you think of Netflix, like, how much do you pay for Netflix? Like $5 US, right, or something like that.
No,
Um,
I was more like 12, but okay.
okay, okay,
Uh-huh.
fine. Let's say 12 years. But
A slight increase.
think of what think of
I'm
what
being
think
generous.
of what Netflix needs to run, right? They need to, like,
Mhm.
software engineers can be paid over 100,000 US dollars. They definitely
Yeah.
needed more than one to build Netflix, right? Let's say they have three.
Mhm.
That's 300,000 US, right? Let's say they have a place that they're renting, and every month they're paying 10,000 US, so that's 120,000 US a year, right? Like, and let's just throw in marketing costs and let's just round it up to 500,000 US. So
Mhm.
they are spending 500,000 US a year. You're paying them $10 a month. Let's just say 10. So it's $120 a year they're getting from you, right? So just do the math on that. They need to get what, like, at the point when they have maybe 3,000 subscribers, they're going to be able to cover their costs from the year, without considering what they need to put in place to get those subscribers. Building, like, have it, because before you want to subscribe, they'll need to build a website. So that's how it works.
Right.
That's actually why having an investment environment is very important. Having grants, like, it's one thing to say, oh, we support entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs have to spend money to be entrepreneurs. The best way to support them is either to buy their product or to give them
Oh,
money
give them
in the
money.
form of grants. No, no, and definitely keep this in the cut, right? Like, everyone out there who
Yeah,
wants
yeah.
to support entrepreneurs, I have, like, the magic, like, one for you. Give them money and they can survive, right? Like, you see this a lot in the EU, in the, well, I mean, the UK is no longer part of EU, but a lot of the guys I studied with, they got EU grants, right? Like, they got like £100,000 from the EU government because their startup is like in an area that they want to support innovation in within the, like they've decided this is a strategic area. Hey, this is like an entrepreneur with the credentials, with the track record. We need to support them. This is a very normal thing. It's just it's not normal here, and we can, we can totally afford it. Like,
With regard to grant funding, I did go to a tech incubator, and a tech incubator is one where you meet a lot of like-minded people, and they go through your business and your tech company, and they will advise you on what to do and what not to do. And my tech incubator also had angel investors.
mm,
So I think out of 200 applicants in the region, I had made it to the top 30, and then to the top 15. I did not win the grant. However, again, it's about relationship building. So Sergio Escobar, who is an angel investor, is somebody that I called pretty regularly about, hey, how do I do this? How do I do that? What are your thoughts on this? And it was very valuable to me at the start of the business.
So you're saying that Mr. Escobar was your mentor, right? And even though you did not win, he was still somebody that you used to. Well, not really use. It's such a bad word, but he was somebody that you
Jordan,
could
Shajura.
rely on or call on,
Yeah,
right? To really give you advice about how to move in this space. And how important
And
was
I
that for you in your success?
That's very important. I think at the time there were three people that I would have reached out to regularly. And I think as an entrepreneur, regardless of what level you're at, it's important that you have a strong circle around
mm.
you,
Oh yeah,
and people that you can also call on. So before I make certain decisions, there are about five people that I have a conversation with, and I get their thoughts, whether it's I take them to lunch or I call them up or whatever the case may be. Same thing goes for, being able to have a conversation with Anthony. Hey, this not work. What are you doing? You know, or just the occasional rant to just blow some steam. The other day I called Anthony and we were on a call for an hour, and I was like, man, I'm frustrated, and that's important to have. It
yeah.
is.
I think like just to underscore that before I even go into another question,
Sure.
like this is a really hard thing to do. Like it's and saying that is not bigging up someone like Shadi or myself. Like this is a ridiculous, especially in this environment, it is ridiculously difficult to keep the companies that you see like that, to just keep them running. Um, on a personal level, like the, I mean, I'm very frequently working 12 to 15 hours a day, like very frequently. For most of the days in the last 3 years, I've done that. And that means you don't spend time with your family, with your partner. You may not be able to get a partner. Like you can't have any hobbies. Like it's
Nobody
just,
wants you because you're always busy.
no, but it's ridiculous. And then to be doing that while the market is small and there's all these
Hmm.
parts of the environment that could be helping, but they're not really. Like it's a very, like I can tell you, like I'm everyone who's known me from being a small kid will tell you how like joyful and happy and stuff I am. Like this is the only time in my life I've been like, sometimes I'm like, "Gee, is this like a depression I'm feeling right now? Like what am I,
Is
what
this
is
really
this?
life?
No, no, no,
This
but
is what I go to school
like
for.
why have I been so down for like the last week? I'm telling you, like one of the most surprising
Hmm.
things about this journey for me has been the emotional battle, not the business battle, not a physical battle, but the battle in your head with your emotions, with the environment, like just to keep going. It's crazy. And that's why Shadi
You're gonna
mentioned the
be
circle to support you.
Start a business. You'll be successful. You'll make more money. You'll have more time. That is not easy. And at first, and in the first 5 years, probably, it's not true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what they don't prepare you for, and that's what no one tells you. And if anyone comes to me and they ask me what's the hardest part about starting a business, I will tell them starting, but I will also tell them it is not going to be an easy road. I am going to tell them whatever it is that you think that you see someone who is an entrepreneur doing or having, they have struggled to get it.
Yeah.
And I think really and truly the biggest hurdle, as Anthony said, is emotional. And we aren't perfect. We make mistakes. And sometimes when you feel like you aren't doing a good job,
Yeah.
you also have to remember that your brand is a representation of you. And when things are not going the way that you had planned or you had worked for, and you're hit with a really big
Yeah.
curveball,
Mhm.
you have to be able to emotionally navigate
Yeah.
through that and then come out the other end so that you can also lead your team to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As an individual, I have become very short and curt. If you don't have a solution, then we shouldn't be having a conversation. I used to avoid confrontation. Can you
Mm.
imagine me being the person that avoids confrontation? I hated confrontation, and I had to learn to be very vocal and how to go about having those conversations. I'm also very considerate and nice, so I still have to balance. The other day, a consultant who came into the business, he said to me, I think you're very nice. You know, he said, I think you're
You are
very
nice, Shadi. You
nice.
are nice.
I think you I think you could be, just slightly a little nice. And I probably needed that. And sometimes you're battling in your head as to what's the best way to go about this, while trying to be human, while taking into consideration you have a bottom line, while taking into consideration, like, there's a lot of things that's also going on in just everyone's lives, right? And then, you just have to realize, like, hey, in order for me to operate, I need X, Y, and Z. And you need to have X, Y, and Z. And one of the biggest things for me right now is having A players on my team. Yeah. So if it's a situation where you need to be trained, then you need to be trained. If it's a situation where you're a C player, then you need to go.
Mm.
Because there was a study recently that showed if an employee is in the environment around C players or B players, their productivity levels are going to drop by
Yeah.
like 15 to
Yeah.
25%. And if they're around A players,
It's
their
gonna go up.
productivity is going to go
Yeah.
up 15 to 25%. And, I hear people talk about, you know, when it comes to what really and truly makes Carl Nassif successful. And they say two things. He hires the right people and he has the necessary processes and technology in place, right? And it's about having A players on your team. So in terms of, being able to grapple with things emotionally, there are journeys that you have to go on by yourself, but having the right people around you are very important. Having the right team is essential. And learning and growing as a leader and a business owner is also very important.
What are the characteristics that an A player needs to have? Yeah, like you're looking for A players, and I want to be an A player. So how do I figure if I'm an A player? What are you looking for? I need to have X, Y, and Z, tangibles, intangibles, soft and hard skills. What's an A player in your
You need
mind,
to be
maybe?
resourceful.
Resourceful.
One of the biggest things is
Mm.
people
Yeah.
come to work. Some people come to work, they have an 8 to 5,
Yeah.
and they just figure if they sit down and do the bare minimum, they are going to get paid at the end of the month regardless.
Yeah.
When you come to work, you need to be productive and you need to be resourceful. So if I say, hey, I need X, Y, and Z, can you get it from the black market,
Whoever.
right?
Yeah,
Wherever.
yeah.
It's, hey,
Mm,
it's not there. Who else did you call? How essential is this? If we don't have this, what happens? So
mm,
this then takes away from my ability to focus on our
Mm.
growth and whatever it is
Mm.
that we need to do.
Yes.
So you as the person
Yes.
that I have tasked,
Anthony's like, preach.
Yeah.
yeah, you as the person that I have tasked to go and get this item,
Yeah.
right?
Mm,
If you don't get this item, that means somebody else cannot function, something else cannot happen, and then somewhere down the line, if more time passes and it doesn't get sorted out in a timely manner, it then becomes a problem that I must deal with. As opposed to an A player, I didn't get it at black market, I'm gonna get it at
Yeah.
blue market. Blue market has it, but green market
Cheaper.
has it
Yeah.
cheaper.
Yeah.
Blue Market, Blue Market has it cheaper, but I don't like the quality at Blue Market. I'm gonna get it
So
at
yeah,
Green Market, who has a good
Hmm.
price
yeah,
and it's a quality
good
product.
quality
That is the people
for
that you want
sure.
Yeah.
around you.
What about you, Anthony?
Well,
Like I see you was
no,
taking in the
I was
sermon.
like the gospel because that is exactly what I would say with one addition, but I would use different terms like the words I use are more like instead of resourceful like self managing, right? Like, but it means the same thing. It's like I look, people think I'm a smart guy. Cool, whatever. Yes, I could
Mhm.
probably do that thing. But like Shadi said, if I have to do it, then I can't be doing the other thing. The key thing is that Shadi
Yeah,
has more roles, more work in her in quick delivery than she has people, right? Like she can't. Maybe when you're like 100 or 1,000 person business, you can do
mhm,
that kind of
mhm.
thing. But when you're small, like Shopdame has 3 people, right? Like each one of us owns our area and we execute. Every morning we have a
Yeah,
meeting, we talk about what needs to get done, and then we
Which I love.
disappear. And then we meet back the next
mhm.
morning and we talk about what we did and what needs to get done. That's the only way it can work with
You
three
know,
people. It cannot work like if it works any other way, you need lots of people. And then you need lots more resources, right? So
yeah,
at the stage that we're at, you need these 8 players who will own an area and just deliver and not just do it because you said to do it. Do it
yeah,
better. Like what I want you to do is do it better than I could do it. If you're doing it
yeah,
like because I asked like I brought you in to do this thing, right? Like so the perfect example is my co-founder. Gandhi Robin, get this in the thing. Gandhi Robin is like the person with the best work ethic I have ever met in the world. I haven't met anyone with that work ethic. And Shadi knows because he's the one who deals with it. Right? Like I
yeah,
haven't
yeah,
met anyone in Europe, in the States, in India that like works like Gandhi. Gandhi literally is like Superman. Like you just need to describe or like it's like sometimes you like no, but that's the thing. You don't even need to tell him what he needs to do. He knows he's the
yeah,
COO and like he manages it. And if something comes up, he solves it. If he needs to get more resources, he gets more resources. If he needs to take a different approach, he takes a million approaches. And then if it can't be solved by him or his stuff alone, then
then
he
he comes
pulls
in.
the other parts of the team. I'm not in charge of what he does. He's in charge, and in his area, I'm a resource. It's the same way. It's the same way the
Yeah,
other way around. And even for the, like one person that's in the operations department, okay, maybe he's not as senior as Gandhi and I, but it's the same thing. He owns the partner management thing. If he needs us, he pulls us in. I think like one thing
mhm.
within Dominica, one thing we can do for ourselves is develop more of that culture when the people within, so that Shadi and I don't have to like do a revolution every time someone joins our businesses, but like just beats like,
Yeah,
look, you're a smart, capable individual. I'm going to empower you to do work. I'm going to measure you. If you don't do it, I'm not going to be satisfied. If you don't do it consistently, you're going to have to leave the company. But as long as you can do it, you will thrive, you will grow, you will have challenges. This is not a slave plant. This is not a plantation. Like I think a lot of our things.
it's
No, I
not.
mentioned that because I think a lot of our problems actually go back to that. We're still in some ways thinking, "Oh, I get to be the master now or something." No, like we get more done if we are all empowered,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So that's what makes
Yeah.
8 players, people
Well,
who can be,
I second
who
that.
can work in that
I
environment.
I
second
mean, we
that.
talked about it too. We talk a
Yeah.
little bit about it, Shadi, and I always say that, you cannot be so busy bailing water that you can't steer the ship, right? So in a situation where Shadi is the owner and founder, I mean, the last thing, the owner and founder wants to do is say go in and speak to a customer about the delivery and the fact that they were missing their fries and they
Come on.
needed a new refunded order. And
Yeah.
no one want no owner, founder, C suite wants to have to deal with that. That's why you hire people to do it. But really, it's being about owning the process and buying in. So while we're talking about bringing in you know people and having A players, like how important is it to have a balance on your team? Because I know, like you first, for Tony, you have a programming tech background, and Shadi, I believe you more have a sales and marketing background. And how do you go about, choosing the right people for your team? Right? Understanding that you don't know everything.
Over time, you develop the skill to know and learn who's gonna last long, who wants to do this, um, and who you should keep. Yeah. And in an interview, oftentimes I can tell, okay, this person is a passing by person, or this person, is really interested, and is going to put their best foot forward. And that only happens over time. Yeah. There are people, I'm always really excited when I see growth in my team, and somebody creates a skill or develops something that they couldn't do before, and you can see that they're ecstatic about it. um, and I really appreciate that. I love to see that happen. But I also want to tell people, hire fast and fire faster. It's cool,
What
but
does that mean?
again,
Unpack that. Unpack that.
that's
Hire
exactly what it
fast and
means.
fire
And you
faster.
said
Is
what?
hire fast and fire faster, because if I have a good team, I
Mm,
bring in a bad egg. That bad egg is going to infest my team, my good
mm.
team, right? And I don't want that.
Right,
So
right.
let that person go faster and hire fast.
They have a say.
That's
They
literally
have a
what it
saying,
is.
you can, in a startup, you can either hire slow or fire fast. Either one keeps people out of the team, that because one of the worst things you can do is mess up the team as a startup.
Yeah. Take your
And
time and develop
because,
your team, or
Or
go
yeah,
just,
through it and make sure
well,
you weed out the
yeah,
other ones. Okay, got you.
I think you have to weed it out very
yeah.
quickly. You really have to weed it out very quickly. And in a business like mine, where it's also tech but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
logistics, um,
Mm-hmm.
you have different layers till somebody actually gets to me. So, okay, I own Quick Delivery, and I started Quick Delivery because I hate lines, and I have a vision where, Quick Delivery will be a household name. And where I started was, buying a Nissan B Sunny, which is a car that's older than me, with my mom's portable fan on the dash, doing deliveries by myself. And what it is today is something that has many partners, over 30 partners, contractors, drivers, and riders. We just brought on our electric scooter. We just, launched our app, which is something that we've been working on for a very long time. The growth from that is great. But at the end of the day, when, in order for all of these things to work and function properly, the person that you meet is my delivery agent, right? If something is escalated or a merchant needs support, it then goes on to my admin, yeah. And in order for the brand to grow or to continue getting good recognition or to continue getting a good name, the right people need to be in those spaces. And I have learned, I've learned two things, right? When you see the red flags, cut. And if you let someone go, don't rehire them.
For you, it's not enough to have a driver's license and be able to ride a scooter, right?
Let me put it for you this way.
Hmm.
Quick delivery requires someone who can ride a Jidewa but can give good customer service,
Okay, okay,
and
okay,
also
okay.
be a professional and say, hi, I'm running late for work.
Right,
So it is
right.
not a wash your foot and come.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
It is
okay.
a professional establishment for you to
Hmm.
come, do your job, grow, learn a few things. And if you
Hmm.
decide, hey, you want to grow within the organization, then you do. If you decide, hey, I would like to do something else, then you can. And the people who are great, you know, big up Quanel one time. Quanel works on the cruise ship, and whenever he comes home on vacation, he's like, boss lady, I'm back. Put me into the schedule where you can. And Quanel does and he does deliveries. And Cornell is also involved when he's here in a number of other projects that I also manage outside of Quick, right? And it it's beneficial to him, it's beneficial to me, and I love to see him grow. And at the end of the day, our relationship is really, really good because of who he is as an individual, right? My admin has been with me for some time, and I've had the opportunity to see her grow. And sometimes I stop and say, like, I'm proud of you. Look at you. You just did this wonderful stuff. And it's good to see. And you also see when you bring in a bad egg and then it starts to infest your team, and you have to cut that like the cancer that it is fast. Because if you don't, trust me, it's just gonna give you a migraine, a headache, an ulcerated stomach. It's just going to
Yeah.
stress you out, and you have other things to focus on.
Agreed. I think that's the missing part of it too, especially when it comes to employees, is that they don't know what it is on the other side. As far as a lot of employees are concerned, they come to work from 8 to 4. We can do the bare minimum. We can sit down, we can answer the phone, and we'll get paid. And I don't know. I like to make a very stark like distinction between the private and the public sector. Are we rounding up? Because I feel like this is the 1 hour. So we dare, and we can talk about this for
Ever.
ever and ever and ever. We've had a really good conversation about, you know, young people in tech, what it takes to be in tech, some of the challenges that you've done, and the challenges are not, about age. It's not about, okay, well, I've been in the business for 20 years, or, I'm about to retire and I've seen X, Y, and Z. I think we've all seen this in our experiences while we're doing business. And I really want viewers, or at least, the young entrepreneurs to get a sense of what's next for them.
There is really and truly beauty in the struggle and ugliness in the success. And you will only get this when you are actually in it. Sometimes the most peaceful or just exciting piece of news that you get is something that you didn't expect. Sometimes it's not about the money, right? And you also have to ensure that you're in it for the right reasons, right? I would say to start, because you don't want to regret it. I said to my mom, if I'm gonna do this, I might as well do this while I'm in my early 20s. Otherwise, start, do other things, probably not be as successful at other things, and kind of like see what it is that works and what doesn't work. The people who you view as successful, whether it's Jack Ma of Alibaba, or um, Jeff Bezos of Amazon, or
Amazon.
Beyonce of Beyonce, they did not get to where they are by being in the room and just thinking that because they've created a product that people are automatically going to come for it. And so either they worked on their skill, or they expanded their knowledge base, or they expanded their product base. There were things that they had to do and they had to learn in order to become the people that they are, right? So if you're looking for something that is more than an average life, or a little bit more than above what the everyday person has, why not start now and take the risk and see what happens? At the end of it, you will either come out smarter and you will know what works and what doesn't work, and somebody can pay you a lot more money for what it is that you do now know. Or you could become the next
Me.
Anthony, or the next Jeff Bezos, or whatever it is. So it's about starting and trying and grinding through it. And then when you get stuck, make sure you have the right people. Like me, I call Anthony and I rant all the time.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
Yeah,
if I
yeah.
had to talk to an early stage entrepreneur planning to, like, jump into this environment, um, yeah, I think Shadi probably had it better put together than I will, but I'll do my best, kind of more in pieces. So I would take on pieces
Yeah.
based on what's been hard for me. I would be like, okay, look, this one is mainly learned. If you're interested in starting a startup, read the Lean Startup. Like, this isn't just like a book thing. Like, a large part of why we have managed to get this thing to this point is because we've taken the lean startup approach. It's an approach about basically building your business while investing as little as possible, incorporating feedback as fast as possible, and running your business sort of like a scientist more than like an entrepreneur. So, and it dramatically improves your chances and lowers the amount of money you're putting at risk. So read the lean startup. That's like something I throw around a lot. Another one is I don't know, like the, this one is based on my personality and who I am, but like I don't think I could do this purely for money. I don't think Sade is doing this purely for money. I don't think you're doing this platform purely for money. I think if you're probably you can do that in like developed countries, man, and you're like, oh, I see a niche, like yeah, let me set up. But
Yeah.
if you're gonna jump into these waters,
Uh,
this is not the Caribbean Sea. This is the Atlantic Ocean, bro. Like
yeah.
it is. You gonna have
It is choppy.
yeah, like
Super
when you are
chubby.
like curled up in a ball on your bed, like rocking back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to
Mm-hmm.
be a reason
Mm-hmm.
why you continue the next day, and it needs to be beyond
Yeah.
like eating and survival or watches or Gucci or whatever. I and my co-founder, we
Mm-hmm.
believe in what we can do to Dominica as an economy, as a society, if this thing works. And that's what drives us. It's like, who knows, probably we're wrong, probably we're crazy, but that's the only thing that makes it make sense. And I
Yeah.
would say that if you're gonna do this seriously, you gotta it's gotta be more than, oh, I think it would be cool. Yeah, as much as possible, get like you cannot really do this alone. Get the best case is get a co-founder if you can. A co-founding relationship is weirdly similar to like a romantic relationship. It's super weird, but the amount
Mm-hmm.
of times Gandhi and I spend together, like we spend more time. Like sometimes our girlfriends are upset with us because, like, because they can't even understand, right? Like what we're going through. So
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
might
Yeah.
lean
Yeah.
more on each other for support, But like a co-founder, an ideal co-founder would probably be mentally like you're like in it for the same reasons, but your skills are
Mm-hmm.
different because you're covering different areas and you're both A players. If you can get that, your chances just like went up by like 7, 8, 900 or something. Even whether or not you have that, also just surround yourself with other entrepreneurs. Um, Surround yourself with mentors, surround yourself with, yeah, like I mean, people who are interested in the cause you're interested in or the thing you're trying to do. Some of those people might
Mm-hmm.
become investors. That's happened with our company. Generally, if you're taking on a difficult thing, you need more, like you need more than one, like one person, right? It can
Yeah.
be a
The harder
mentor.
the problem it is to
The
solve.
more
Yeah.
people you need, whether it's their money or their time or their
Mm-hmm.
expertise they're putting in. And yeah, I would say like
Yeah.
finally, like I know for myself, I wanted to do business for a long time and I had no idea how I was going to get in to that. And what I did is what you can always do, no matter where you are, is you can invest in yourself. I became a software
Yeah.
engineer. I dug around in startups for like 3, 4 years, and then a bunch of random things aligned. I ended up getting a contract that meant it was easy to come back here. COVID hit at the same time. Gandhi walked up on a beach with his girlfriend the same time I walked up on the beach. And then no, because you can't really plan life, but you can like make
Yeah.
sure that you're ready to take the opportunities that pop up.
What you think wouldn't be a challenge
Oh
is a
yeah.
challenge, right? The things that you think you don't have to deal with is the things that you actually have to deal with, yeah. And when you think of it like that, you really sit down and say, okay, yeah, sometimes at the end of the day you might be like, if I knew then what I know now, I
Mm-hmm.
might have done things differently.
Yeah.
But that is why it's very important to be passionate about what you've decided to do, why you're doing it, and what you want the outcome to be. And to also celebrate the
Yeah.
wins, because if you don't, no one's going to celebrate them for you.
I think I just got my intro clip. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Look at you. But no, guys, it's already we're all 20 minutes in. It's a real
Yeah, we're
interesting
lucky.
conversation. I just really want to thank you all because based on what we've talked about, spoken about, really want to give our viewers, some practical information and some insight into, how it is that it's happening. And like you mentioned earlier, it's not a bed of roses. It's not easy. It's not without its challenges. Every single day is, a struggle to stay open and be sustainable. So thank you very much for
Okay.
the time. I appreciate you all and have a
Thank
good
you,
Have a
one.
good
Kevin.
one.